This is WFO Radio.
Hey, everybody, we're back. WFO Radio after a very rare Wednesday off. We're back on Thursday. We got two shows today. Coming up at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, Erica Enders will be back with us. And on this show, you're going to hear from Matt Hagan and you're going to hear from Dickie Venebles. One or the other or together, we're getting connected. Crew chief and driver, they've won world championships together. They are the reigning world champions. And they got it done out there at the Midwest Nationals in St. Louis. So that's coming up. Share the show. Be ready if you love NHRA drag racing. Like, let the world know. Did you know that today, right now, today is International Podcast Day? You know, there's Father and Daughter Day, and there's all these different days. Well, today is International Podcast Day. So if you're going to share the show, share with that hashtag International Podcast Day, and let somebody new know about WFO Radio. Like if you like drag racing or NHRA drag racing or motorsports or NASCAR or F1 or sports, or if you just like to be generally entertained by somebody who's a little silly every now and again, International Podcast Day, share a little WFO Radio. And we'll try to grow this audience, baby. We're going to try to grow it, and the audience too. That's what I'm talking about. We're going to have Dickie Venebles. We're going to have Matt Hagan a couple of seconds from now. So, or maybe it'll just be Dickie, because I see him down there already. Dickie is ready to go. Typical crew chief, right? He's in there. Meanwhile, the drivers are coming in last second. But I got to tell you about the people who make it possible for me to do this show. Like, I couldn't do the show if Total Seal Piston Rings wasn't a sponsor of ours. TotalSeal.com, the leader in ring seal technology, naturally aspirated, supercharged, factory showdown, stock eliminator, all the way up to F1. Total Seal fits the rings and help you unlock that hidden horsepower in your engine. And we've got a hidden horsepower record session coming on. There's Matt coming on. I see him real soon. So be ready. Also, samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Start your education at full speed, like the next generation of crew members, CNC programmers, motorsport EFI tuners, or traditional machinists who run the machines and make it all happen, make that power happen. Samtech.edu. They're approved to train veterans under the GI Bill, and I've got a lot going on. Also, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. The Dragster Adventure is what I think you guys should do, because, you know, watching drag racing and actually drag racing are two totally different things. And you'll get a renewed concept of what it's all about if you drive one of Frank's dragsters. You show up with nothing, just the clothes on your back. You leave with an experience of a lifetime, frankhawley.com. And then there's my friend Marvin Rodak from Fort Worth, Texas. The coffee, the hot sauce, the spice rub, the grilling. He's got it all. He's been on TV. He's a grillmeister, baby. And he can even make a special blend of coffee for you, for your team, for your business. Give him a call, 817-924-6821. That's Marvin Rodak. A little later on in the show, I will tell you how to get your own WFO stickers for free, or WFO radio face coverings or gear, all that stuff. But right now, we got the reigning champ. We got the points leader, Matt Olkhagen, who is, what is he, getting gas? He's filling up his tank. What are you doing, Matt?
Man, I'm getting a little gas. I'm down here in West Palm Beach, man, and just hanging out, enjoying life, enjoying the sun, and just taking a few days off for myself.
You are about 1 hour north of me in the WFO studios. You should have just come down live. You should just come down for a live.
Man, I didn't know that. I'm in Jupiter, so just kind of hanging out a little bit. I can understand why you like to be down here, man. The weather is just absolutely beautiful, and
it just
beach. Nice.
It just changed. Summer just ended, and you're getting the good weather. All right, before we go any further, look who's on, Matt. Look who else we got.
The man, the myth, the legend, Dickie.
We never see you guys together. You're in the car. Dickie's on the starting line. I'm talking to you at the stripe. I'm talking to Dickie on the starting line. Matt does most of the interviews. I wanted to hear from you guys together, because what I just witnessed this past weekend was just an awesome team victory, and I bet you both have different and similar perspectives on it. So Matt, start me off. Just like, what's it like to work with this guy?
Well, I'm not just saying it to say it, but Dickie's brilliant when it comes to drag racing and tuning these things, and he's been around it his entire life. When you talk to his dad about it and how he come up around it with Tobler and everybody else, there's nothing that replaces gut instinct like Dickie has, and being a good racer on Sunday is really a lot. Like, Dickie is a great racer on Sunday. he pushes as hard as he can, but always not too hard. And we always, we have a reputation of being really extremely fast, but going down the racetrack. And that to me is racing on Sunday. There's a lot of guys that can go out there and open all the flows and hope it goes, but knowing where the bumps are, and knowing where to pinch flows in here and there, and knowing how much primary to put on it, and all the calls and all the chatter that's in my ear, it's incredible what this guy has to deal with all the time. So I have extreme respect for him for what he's doing out there and how things are going.
Wow. No, it's great to hear you say that. What about from your perspective, Dickie, to work with Matt? You guys have won 2 championships together, reigning champs, points leaders. Great win this weekend. We'll ask some specific details, but what's it like to work with this guy?
Well, it's really a pleasure. The last time I really worked long-term with the driver, as far as me being crew chief, was with Tony Pendercon. We had a pretty good long run there together. But this run here with Matt, we've won 30-something races together. And, that's hard to do out here. And you don't do it without a great team and a good driver. And, I just know when we go up there, I worry about, the race car. I don't even think about how it's being driven, because that's just something he does so well. So, just real fortunate to be able to do what I love to do. Like Matt said, I grew up around it. My dad used to race, and, it was just kind of a fun thing to do back then. We're hobby racers, and I would have had no idea if somebody who said you're going to be doing this 40 years later for a living, I'd have told them they were nuts, but real fortunate. It's all about the team, and it's from the driver right on down. But working with Matt, I don't think I could ever equal this run that we've had together as far as winning races.
It has been impressive. And Matt, feel free to jump in if you got something to say to Dickie. Also, like in the end, people want to hear you guys talk to each other, not so much me. But to me, qualifying isn't always super entertaining. This was a super entertaining qualifying session because of the swapping of back and forth of that lead, knowing that whoever gets number 1 spot is going to get a bye run on Sunday. There was something of value out there, basically a free 20 points in a championship battle. So you guys wanted to take that top spot, and the Friday night run was amazing, and the Saturday night run was even more amazing, if you like funny cars.
Yeah, I'll let Dickie take that one, because, he was just, it was a throwdown. It was a slugfest. Dickie went up there with the mentality of, hey, we're going to run an 86, and it went out there and did that, and look at Caps right that's running 86. It shows you how competitive, like Dickie said in the lounge, he's like, it just shows you how good the track was, to have that type of, close competition and qualifying, and these crew chiefs and drivers be able to throw down the way they did out there. It was, NHRA is doing a great job of putting on a great show for our fans right now by allowing the glue to be there and in the track prep,
Dickie?
Yeah, qualifying, it was fresh in my mind. Last year we ran 88 in the final round against Tommy Johnson, and we lost. Conditions vary track to track, but it always sticks in my mind. There's certain tracks that you remember things about, and St. Louis is one that track's good. And the way NHRA is preparing the track now, I knew it would be good. And the performance of all the cars showed that. And we just, those little points are important, and we were just fortunate to be able to go out and collect a couple of them there on Friday. And then I think we did real well there Saturday. And it was just when the conditions are like that, that's what I like. I like to be aggressive when the time's right, and it was just that situation where the car's running well and you got a lot of confidence in it. And, you just roll up there and you try and push as hard as you can without tipping it over,
Well, yeah. You did just that. You got that number 1 spot. Go ahead, Matt.
I just want to say this has been a super fun car to drive, because the guys are doing such a great job on putting the car together. They've got nothing falling off the car, and, they're out there making the turns, and, within 30, 35 minutes, they got it bolted together and firing back up. and it's just getting to be like a really well-oiled machine. And then you get Dickie that gets to throw down out there and really make those calls of how hard I can push it and different things like that. And it just makes it such a fun race car to drive because, you know, crawling into that car, I've never won in St. Louis, you know, and it's been 13, 14 years now, I guess, you know, but crawling into that car on Sunday, you just have that feeling of like, no matter how fast somebody goes, we have an opportunity to go faster. And if I leave on time or leave on them, then we're going to turn the wind light on because, you know, Dickie's going to, you know, he's always going to run as hard as he can, but not over the center kind of thing, you know. And it's just like, that was just such a great feeling on Sunday to crawl in there going like, I think we win this thing on Sunday, you know, and haven't had that happen in a long time in my career, you know. And so to pull that one down and to have a car that's running so good and so consistent, it's just, that's just a fun feeling, you know.
I can imagine. And, you know, I wanted to talk about this. Let's talk about it now since you brought it up. These guys, Alex, Mike Knutson, they, and I know the team, like there's a larger team, but to me, I see those guys together all the time, always thinking about drag racing, always working on drag racing, ego involved. Like we want to kick some ass, excuse me for saying that, but like, that's the attitude. Like they are feeling it every second of the day. And I think that's pretty amazing. And I'm not saying other teams don't have that. They certainly do, but I've been studying these guys for a while and they are, like you said, Matt, like a gelled, organized team. And I would like to hear you guys, you know, talk a little bit about them because I don't know that everybody knows those two. Of course, every team has got a whole unit that works together. And if anybody doesn't do their job, it doesn't go down the racetrack. But like Matt's the driver, you know, Dickie's the crew chief, and these two are like the capos, right? They're like the two, you know, it's a mob term, but you get it.
Dickie, you want to take that one since you kind of pieced everybody together?
Yeah, sure. You know, it's real fortunate to have guys like Alex and Stretch, you know. I mean, you know, we each have certain jobs. They pretty much take care of the day-to-day stuff and try to, you know, let me focus on the race car, and that's huge. And you know, they're a huge part of what we do as a team for sure. You know, on race day or at the racetrack, you know, when it comes time to making the final calls up there, when you go to make a run, you know, we got Stretch out there, you know, looking at 300, 400 foot area. Alex is up there at the start line area, and I'm listening to them on the radio. I don't talk that much. They just relay information to me, and then we end up making a final decision, you know. But it's real important to have that track data, and then it's also important to know that you have guys that are going to take care of the rest of the crew as far as managing them and, you know, guiding them and organizing, and that way they do everything without making mistakes and have all their parts and pieces in order. And it just takes a tremendous load off of me.
And
I'll say this. So what I've got to see over the years, and I guess we've been racing together, 6-7 years now, maybe 8 years, Dickie, you know, maybe even longer than that. I don't know. But over the years, I've seen Dickie 9 years. Yeah. So there's, you know, a lot of crew chiefs won't sit down and take the time to teach these assistant crew chiefs, or they got to kind of just pick it up whenever they can. And what I've really seen over the years is that Dickie's taking the time to explain everything to Mike, to really show him, to allow him to grow as an assistant crew chief, you know. But if he has a question, he explains it to him. He's been a really good teacher, you know, and Mike is a really fast learner, right? Like he's super smart. He's great with numbers. You know, so Dickie has taken the time to do that, but Mike's taken on the role of, okay, like I want to learn as much as I can and be the sponge, you know, and he's doing a great job. I think Dickie's been, you gotten sick twice or something like that. And Mike's 2-0 or something like that, you know, so he kind of brags about that, but obviously working off of Dickie's notes and everything else. But, you know, to see Mike grow as an assistant crew chief has been huge, you know, but a lot of it's been because Dickie sat down and taken the time to really, you know, teach him and train him and giving those gut decisions that you just don't get, you know, from just being there such a short amount of time. And then Alex is just one of those guys is at the shop. He's selling parts and pieces for Don and trying to make extra money and learning as much as he can, and comes up in the lounge and he's learning extra stuff from Mike as well. and Dickie, you know, and you almost see Alex as like Dickie's kid, man. Like Alex wants to make Dickie proud so much, you know what I mean? And he does anything that he can to do it, you know what I mean? You could just see it, you know, if something goes wrong, it's just like, it's, you know, it's the worst thing in the world. He's like, oh my God, I disappointed Dickie, you know what I mean? But that's that type of mentality and that brotherhood and that want to make people proud kind of thing, that work ethic that makes this team so good, you know. I mean, and we do have a great team. Like those three guys there are cool, but you know, great guys are wrenching on the car that brings so much to the table. And you know, we're talking about championship stuff, and everybody's like, how do you deal with the pressure and what do you do? But there's really, you know, when you minimize the pressure, it's like, what do you have control over? I mean, I believe in trusting each and every one of my guys, so I don't even think about that. So like when we talking about championship hunt and worrying about all the stuff, it's like, what do we really have control over? And if we focus on that, and Dickie focuses on his deal, and Mike's doing his, and you know, you really don't have a whole lot of control over but so much stuff. And when you minimize that pressure and don't worry about anything else, it kind of takes all the pressure away. So I know my guys are going to do their job, and I got to do my job. You know what I mean? And it all kind of comes together. And that's what I think has made us so successful, is that we can all count on each other. You know,
I couldn't agree more to see it happen, but you got to do it also. You got that bye run first round, and then JR, Cruz, and Tasca en route to victory. JR, you're down in the 80s, and then it was low 90s to get through the other two. You know, walk me through the methodology of whatever you think is worthy of talking about. You know, JR was fighting for his countdown life right there. If he wants to win the championship, he really needs to take you out there, and they turned the tires. And then, you know, Cruz is still in the hunt. Like, they've been tough. JC over there has been really strong, and that car and that team, I know you know them very, very well. And so preparing for them. And then, of course, Tasca with Mike Neff, he basically saved his chances at any kind of championship by a strong performance. So walk us through the methodology and especially the final. Dickie.
Yeah, you know, race day, we were real fortunate to have the bye run. And, you know, I really wanted to try and keep lane choice all day. You know, not that the track, you know, it had great traction, but we felt like the bump out there that the funny cars are having to deal with was worse in the left lane. So we liked the right. So we had the bye run first round, and we were pushing, you know, we wanted to see how far we could push the thing. And unfortunately it came loose, you know. Going up there for second round, JR, I think they had run 89 first round in the left lane. So, and they obviously had lane choice. So I'm sure they picked that lane because they ran well over there, which allowed us to stay over in the right. And then we were able to keep lane choice the rest of the day. But it's just a matter of, you know, every run on Sunday was tough. You know, once you get past first round, you know, when you run guys like JR and Cruz and Tasca, I mean, they're all tough, along with, you know, half a dozen other ones. So, you know, it was just all about taking it one run at a time, reading the racetrack and just making the adjustments and not making mistakes back in the pit. And, you know, we ended up having a good day with a win.
There you go. Now, I can see Matt, but there he is. There's Matt. You're back. How about your perspective of the final round, Matt? Just you and Tasca. This is a big round. I always look at every round like this as a 40-point swing, because you gain 40 and then they don't gain 20. Or you gain 20 and then they don't gain 20. And so against each driver. So this was pretty considerable going to the final round. And the team, you guys won Brainerd. You didn't race Indy. You won out there with Tommy at Maple Grove. And now you've won again. So this team is like performing at a very high level, another final round. Walk me through the final, Matt.
Yeah, you know, the final is always intense. You know, your adrenaline's up. You're trying to control your breathing. You know, you don't want to get left on. You know, it just, I felt so bad for Caps the round before that, you know, when he had like a, you know, 120 light against, you know, Cruz or against Force, I'm sorry, you know, and so you keep that in your mind. You're going like, don't do that, you know, but it just, you got to go up there. It's not a think time, it's reaction time. And, you know, you got the car underneath you to turn on the wind light. And, and then if I usually try to be thin, except for in the final, so I grabbed some, I let the brake go a little bit and rolled on in, and you just shortening up the racetrack a little bit. But, it's still, they're going to do that beside you. So you still have to have a good light, and you still have to keep it in the groove. And you're like, the pressure is on in the final so much that you have to rise to the occasion, because, this is it. This is, if you lose, your guys did just the amount of work as the team beside you did, and you don't get the bonus points. You don't get the extra points and the bonus money and stuff. So, when it all comes down to it, it's just massive amounts of pressure. But like I said, dealing with the pressure is like, your mentality, and rising to the occasion. Dickie rose to the occasion, and we ran really well. We probably ran at least 90 in the final or 89, and, it just, the car has been just unbelievably consistent, and the performance is there. So as a driver, it's like, man, that puts even more pressure on you to step up and do your thing. And, you come out of a deal where Tommy just won a race and, makes it look easy, man. I was like, damn, anybody can drive this thing, but no, I mean, Tommy is a great driver. He's a great wheel man, and I still say thank you to Tommy, because, he kept us in position to where we had a really fighting chance, especially after that mistake that we had there in Indy, where we didn't get to soak up any points because of qualifying and stuff. For Tommy to step in that car and Dickie to perform, and those guys win, it kept us in the hunt here, to be able to come out here and really still fight for this championship and not be at such a disadvantage. So everything happens for a reason. I mean, I hate that I missed 2 races. I mean, it was unbearable and hard to watch, but at the end of the day, everything, worked out the way it's supposed to so far. And, I needed that time to recover. I needed that time to get get my mentality back, and to rest and to be able to breathe. And so, I know it's kind of a crazy rule, but at the end of the day, there's been, over the last 13 years that I've been driving one of these cars, there's been probably 2 or 3 times that I probably shouldn't have been in the race car, like I had a stomach flu or something like that. And you're just not 100%. And that rule really allows you as a driver to say, hey, look, I'm not 100%. This is not good for everybody around me. I need to take this time to make sure that I can recover and heal and get better. So I'm just so glad that my team performed the way they did. And it is such a team, you know what I mean? Like those, even though they plugged another driver in there, Dickie still had to tune the car. The guys still had the wrench on the car. They still had to win every round like that, And so I'm just proud of my team that they can go in there and plug a new guy in there and still go out there and turn the wind light on. And that just goes to show you how well oiled our team is.
Amazing stuff. All right, let's talk Dallas. Let's look ahead to Dallas. This is a track where you guys have had some success. You got to be licking your chops. I know you guys love those cowboy hats. You got a shot to go get another one and ride on that giant. What is it, Matt? It's a what is it?
It's like I don't know. It's a super. I've never seen a Longhorn that's that big a horn. You know what I mean? Like I don't even know how they get him there. You know what I mean? He must ride sideways in a trailer.
Definitely, but you guys have been in the winner's circle several times at this track, and a win here. And I wonder, do you look at it like this? That would put a lot of people on the ropes, right? Like you would and eliminate a lot of people from championship discussion with a strong performance, not even a win, but with a strong performance, and narrow your competition for the championship.
Yeah, I mean, I personally don't look at it like that. I mean, yes, that would be nice. I approach it from the standpoint of we need to just try and keep doing what we're doing, and that means going to the race, having all your stuff prepared and in order, equipment wise, and going to the racetrack, just taking it one run at a time and take what the racetrack will give you, the conditions and so forth. And, a big part of the way I approach it is, I'm real big on, I think if you miss that first qualifying run, if you have to screw that up one way or the other, it puts you behind, so I like to go there, get Q1 under our belt, look at the weather, look at the power that the engine made, and just kind of see where you're at that particular track and go from there. But, I mean, yes, a strong performance, that's our goal. And we plan on going there and doing our best to do that. But you never know, we just got to stay focused, stay consistent, and go there and just do what we've been doing.
No, it's been great to watch. Gentlemen, final thoughts.
Yeah, I think me and Dickie talk about that quite a bit.
Go ahead,
I think
Matt.
me and Dickie talk about that quite a bit. Friday run. It's just so important to the only 3 qualifiers a lot of times get that one under your belt that for that that qualifying session. Even when we used to have 4, it was always that mentality of come out with your first run and set yourself up for success for the weekend. And Dickie's done a great job of doing that, reading the racetrack. And it's tough because you're throwing a dart the first run. You don't really know out there what it's going to take. You got good data and you got all the notes to look at, but to go out there and really lay it down on the first run is extremely tough, and they've done a great job of making the right calls and getting the race car down the racetrack to get on the board and give us something to work off of.
So there will be, from what I understand, there will be 4 qualifying sessions this race because the people at the Texas Motorplex are adding to the purse, and they are also going to have some bonus money out there to shoot for. Does that change the way you race? Like shooting for low of a session to get some bonus money? Maybe that's not part of the bigger strategy that you were just outlining. Like, how are you going to handle that? And what do you guys know about that?
Well, it's not going to change my approach, because I have my mind on the big picture, and if you happen to be low of whatever session that is that pays a bonus money, then so be it, but I try and stay focused on making consistent runs, qualifying well, and just taking it one run at a time on race day.
Matt, what about you? The fact that the Texas Motorplex going all out, adding money, elements, a session, a qualifying session, etc.
Well, I can't help but have a good feeling because I know how Dickie's mentality is. He's a throw down type of dude. I mean, in the day, when we were able to set national records, it was just one after another, be able to pull that tight in there and put my mouthpiece in and just going like, this is going to be fun, kind of thing. And he looks under the hood right there, and we always grab hands, right there, right before we fire the car up, and just kind of like, it's like he looks at me and he's like, I got you, and I'm like, I'm gonna hang on to it, kind of thing. So it's just, it's fun, man, and if it works out, great, and if it doesn't, no big deal. But it's one of those things where I just know, and if we have an opportunity for the track to be there and things be, stars line and the weather's great, there's not a question line this dude's gonna throw down. So it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, Matt, we're breaking up a little bit, but we're right at the very end. So I am going to say a bid farewell to you. I appreciate you coming on the show, Matt. And this has been great. I love seeing you guys together, talking together like this. I don't know if you can muster a so long to the fans out there, but thank you, Matt. Appreciate you. Congratulations.
I don't know if he's still with us.
Yeah, I think we lost him. But that's okay. That is okay. We got through it as the thing that mattered the most. And I thought he was great, and seeing you guys work together. Now I did have before I let you go, Dickie, I had a couple questions come up in the comment section. I wonder if you're open for answering them.
Sure.
Okay. Derek says, what changes in your tuning when your driver is out and you have a lighter driver? Like moving weight. Is it just moving weight, or is there more to it?
Yes, it's about keeping the balance of the car. Basically when we put Tommy in the car, there was 2 things we had to do. One, you're dealing with accelerating a certain amount of weight, and that weight is less. So the clutch setup was a little different, meaning the clutch was lighter. It had to slip more, basically the whole run. And then the other thing is the driver, where he's positioned in the car, is right over the rear end. So that's a pivot point. So what you have to do is you have to counteract that by either adding or subtracting weight from the front to keep the balance right. And, we were able to keep the front light because Tommy wasn't as heavy in the back. So really those 2 adjustments were the only thing that we had to do when the 2 different drivers were in the car.
And you were able to figure that out in one day of testing?
We did. Indy was a disaster. It was just unfortunate we only got the one run, but that's the way it was. And Tommy got in the car, and I felt bad for him. He got to do a burnout,
Yeah.
He really wanted to drive the race car. And, and honestly, I didn't have any confidence rolling into Reading that the car was even going to go down the track. So we got together with Don and said, sure, I'd like to make a couple of test hits out at here in Indy. And we were able to do that. And, it wasn't as big of a change as I thought it was going to be. But yes, just those two runs made all the difference in my confidence, which is huge for a crew chief. It just it gave us a lot better feeling rolling into Reading.
No, that makes perfect sense. When I ask you questions on the starting line, like I'm coming up to the crew chief, and not just you, but any crew chief, like it's a real challenge for me because I really want to get something of value out of you guys. And you do a great job. You stop and you're thoughtful and you debrief, right? But it's got to be very challenging because you just put together this amazing combination of factors, and it either worked or it didn't work, or it worked great, and now here you got to talk about it. Like, what's a good way to extract that information that's, respectful, but also going to like tee it up for you to tell us whatever you can tell us?
Well, Joe, you just have to ask me. I can't speak for other crew chiefs, but I always try and take the time to, give you the information that you want. A lot of times I may not really know what happened yet without seeing the data and whatnot, but I always try and give you, the information that I have and what my gut's saying, but, that, and I think it's important for the fans to know. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that, they're impressed by the speed and think it'd be cool to drive and all that kind of stuff. But I also think there's a certain number of people out there that have an interest in what makes them tick, and, as far as what's a good way, just come right out and ask.
Excellent. I appreciate that. And, you've done a great job, and most have. Because, where I'm coming from. Like, I just want something exciting for the fans to help us learn. That's it. Like, okay, situationally. Absolutely. And it's very situational out there. The conditions, the session, the weather, the track, all of these different things. I want to thank you for that. Dickie, thank you so much. Like, another question Monica wants to know, I think you answered this already. How many years have you been tuning cars? Isn't it like 40 years?
Yes. Yeah,
Not to make you old.
I've been in the business 40 years as far as actually tuning cars. My first crew chief job on my own was in 2004 with Tony Pendergast. But, I worked with John Medlin and Austin Coyle and Bernie Federley, and Guido was there, and, a lot of years there at Forces. And, back prior to that was several different dragster teams. And, but my actual first crew chief job was in 2007.
Wow. And then you and Tony Pendergast went out and won that championship in
2004 was my first, and then we won in 2007.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you also had a viral moment happen you're kind of famous for.
You might be referring to an incident at Indy.
Yeah, I think I am.
Yeah, I might be one of the only people that was standing on the starting line that actually lost their pants completely. Yes.
You're lucky though.
I don't wish that on anybody. That was one of those moments where I thought, wow, this is embarrassing. And then I realized I had some burns and stuff, and it got a little more serious, but it's fun to talk about and laugh about now.
Well, and that's why I brought it up. I knew you'd be great about it. But wow, exactly. And you know what? And hey, till right now, because of that and many other things that I've seen, I am very head on a swivel, worried about where I am compared to the cars at any moment, right? Like, because even a fire up, something weird can happen like that.
Don't ever turn your back on one of them that's running on the starting line. That's the best advice I can give anybody, because when that happened, I'd been doing it a lot of years, and it's just a reminder of how dangerous it can be up there and how much anyone up there should pay attention.
There you go. And thank you for going there. Monica's like, you had to go there, Joe. Yeah, man. I don't know how many times Dickie's been on the show, but we've never talked about that. Thank you. Thank you so much. How's your dad doing?
He's doing great. Thanks for asking. And as always, thanks for having me on the show, and always enjoy that, and always enjoy talking to you at the races.
Excellent. Likewise. And good luck to you and the team. Like I said, man, those guys have got the eye of the tiger right now. You can see the way they are feeling it, and it's going to be tough for anybody out there, but you know, you got to go do it too. There's still quite a few races left. We got 4 races
That's right.
left.
That's a long way to go.
Long way to go.
Great team though. Good group of guys. We're going to give it a heck.
Excellent. Dickie, thank you so much. Appreciate you being on the show.
Thanks, Joe.
Later. There he goes. Dickie Venebles with us here on WFO Radio. How about that? Put your comments in the comment section. Hagan texts me. It's like this, the cell service was sketchy, and I will respond. We good. Right? Text language is really not grammatically correct. It's just the raw, most basic thing. Like, I mean, I could have spent a little more time crafting a perfect text, but he gets the gist right now. How great was that? That was just great stuff. Hearing the crew chief and the driver together debrief and kind of like work as a team here on the show. I really appreciate it. And thanks to DSR for putting that together. And they did a great job. And I wanted to shout out to Mike and Alex, who are there on the side of the screen, the ones who aren't Matt and Dickie, because I talk to them a lot, right? Like when I have a question, you know, what's this? What's that? What's the story? I'm trying to always increase my knowledge. I don't want to tune one of these things by any means, but the more that I know, the more I can understand what's happening and why. And they've been great. And there have been some others who have been really great in taking me inside and showing me stuff, all starting off with Eric Lane right here, who really gave me a great education on the clutch and just like, this is what's happening and this is why it's important. All right, comments in the comment section, guys. Remember, we're going to be back at 3:00. We're doing 2 today. Erica Enders is going to be on the show, and we're going to talk to the First Lady of Pro Stock. That's right. They told her, Erica, if you're 10 or better, we can't lose. And she's 10, right? Yeah, just go be 10 or better, and we can't lose. And she was 10, and they won by 1,000. And how insane is that? How insane is that? We'll speak with Erica Enders, and hopefully everybody will push out the show. But right now, I've got to tell you about the people who make it possible for me to do it. Like, for instance, the Patreons, the WFO Patreons. We're getting new Patreons all the time now. People joining our secret society. Everybody heard me talking about, like, you know, the stuff that I tell the Patreons, you know, the Monday Motivation Show, which sometimes happens on Wednesday, where I give the, you know, insight, the professional insight to what's going on out there in the world and get everybody fired up. You can go to the website, WFOradio.com or patreon.com/WFO Radio. You can join. It doesn't cost very much. Also, reach out to Gary Pritchett. People have been asking me about, is the big Maryland race, is it going to be streamed? And so far, the answer is no, and I don't know, but he's checking. He's checking to see if it's going to be streamed. See, to me, though, man, there's geofencing. I would geofence that stream for like 300 miles. I've seen the flyers now. There's going to be like 30 funny cars there. Why would you not go out Saturday night under the light, Budds Creek, Maryland? Go find Gary Pritchett. Shout out WFO. Check out the Bunny Burkett car. Like, what a great thing. And depending on your region or where you are, maybe you've got something closer to do. But if you're on the East Coast, that's where you should be. No doubt. No doubt. As far as the stream, if there is one, I will put it out there. But I would love to generate a huge crowd for such a great cause. I think that is great. Also, Nitro Fish, where you can get your WFO Radio t-shirt. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure. I noticed that Travis Shoemake was in the comment section, and it sounds like he's staying to get his license, maybe Monday after the Fall Nationals. A Frank Hawley graduate. And maybe you want to become a Frank Hawley graduate, or maybe you just want to hang with Frank and do the Dragster Adventure. Either way, go to frankhawley.com. Tell him you heard about it on WFO Radio. Jeff Arend is on the entry list. Jeff Arend will be running Dexter Tuttle's machine out there. Speaking of someone who is involved with Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School and a really good guy. samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Start your education at full speed. Blockhead CNC programs, motorsport EFI tuning. All of that. Go to samtech.edu today. For you young kids, like that's the thing, man. You love racing, but you don't know what you want to do with your life. What do you want to do with your life? I want to rock. Except that's a tough gig to get. Maybe you want to be a machinist and just rock on the weekends. Go to samtech.edu. Total Seal piston rings, leader in ring seal technology. Do you guys want to hear who the I don't even know. Well, today we're going to speak with Steve Schmidt, right? So pro stock legend, big cubic inch legend, the guy heavily involved. We're going to speak with Steve soon. But I just got another text like, who else is interested? Gary Stinnett, Frank Iaconio. You don't want to miss Hidden Horsepower, guys. You don't want to miss Hidden Horsepower. All kinds of great stories, even if you're not geeking out on ring seal. Great stories. Greg Anderson is acknowledged he's going to come on. All of those things. We're waiting for Greg to be the winningest pro stock driver ever. TotalSeal.com. You can go to the website. If you're building an engine, it's really kind of a no-brainer. Marvin Rodak, Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com. Hot sauces and spice rubs. I hear that Rodak is making a special blend for a certain top fuel team out there. That's what I heard. Check them out. 817-924-6821. Call Marvin. Hey, Marvin, Costello is talking to you. He's talking about you. And he's going to be down there at the Stampede of Speed. Yep. Marvin Rodak. You can go to our own WFO store and get a face covering. You can send a self-addressed stamped envelope to P.O. Box 848-353, Pembroke Pines, Florida, 33084, and I'll put a couple of stickers in there so you can rock the WFO colors. And Sammy Eubanks, get this. You want to hear a crazy story? Sammy Eubanks is in Supercuts in Brownsburg, and one of our other listeners is in there, and Sammy is watching WFO, and the other listeners are like, you're watching WFO? And they're like watching WFO together while they get their haircuts side by side. Like, that's when you know things are going right. When, look at this, Sammy. Just met a friend of yours here in Brownsburg, Brian, Fuel Coop, who's a Patreon, been around for a long time. I'm waiting for a haircut, and he heard me listening. How cool is that, man? Multiple people, like in that haircuttery, whatever it is. They should definitely get it going on. Here's one, praying for Jock. All right, so I hear Jock is going to be okay. For those that didn't know the story, the Cliff Notes is Jock was driving the rig. He was super tired. He pulled over to go to sleep. He's got some safety measures with him, as anybody who's traveling over the road with thousands and millions of dollars of equipment should, and in my opinion. And, fell asleep and had a weird incident and woke up and he did the Plaxico Burress. Yeah. But the word is that he's going to be okay and he'll be back with the team. But just craziness. Here's Travis Shoemake. Travis says, true. He will be finishing off his license at the Texas Motorplex Stampede of Speed. That kid, Travis Shoemake, just watch. Go get that money, Travis, because he's got a lot of potential. You pulling the motor out of your race car this weekend? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Saturday morning, pulling that Pontiac engine out of the 78 Trans Am to begin the process. Like nothing else can happen until the engine is out. That way, let's say I decide to do something with the engine and have somebody go through it and they say, bring it over. I can do it real easily. It's ready to go. Because I'm tired of messing around. And so we're doing it. We're pulling the engine. My friends Corey and Lee are coming over and bright and early, Saturday morning. In fact, tomorrow I'm taking off, an off day, to focus on the car, which is, there'll be WFO social media, etc. So that's going down, man. What is this? Okay, y'all, can Joe get 10 likes? 10 likes. I don't know what he's talking about. But yeah, how about some likes and shares, guys? Today is International Podcast Day. This podcast has been going for 10 plus years. We started in 2009, right? WFO Radio. And big thanks to the folks on Fox Sports 1 for playing the audio clip and getting a little love out there. WFO podcast. But not everybody is watching on YouTube and subscribing and clicking the bell. Many are audio only podcasters, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. This is a medium that has absolutely taken off. And I'm proud that we recognized early on, relatively speaking, like we weren't the first. Remember those rowdy guys that were on Jayski, the Rowdy podcast way back in the day. Got to give them credit. Like in motorsports, they were the OGs, the Rowdy podcast, but they stopped doing it for a while, or they stopped doing it in general. It's hard. It's hard to make a go of it, especially when, you don't have tons of listeners or you can't quantify it back in the day. People are like, podcasting, what's that about? There's a guy in his garage, like always something negative to say. Well, now podcasting is obviously massive. It's huge. It's larger than life. Everybody is doing it. We got podcasts left and right. And through great technology like this, that you're actually seeing me in the WFO studios, and I can show you things and put pictures up on the screen. Bobby Fazio is asking me, like, how do I do that? Like, you can do it, man. It's easy, right? I am proud that so many people are now podcasting. And am I the reason? Absolutely not. I'm not the reason. But I was here kind of early and just banging my head against the wall, man, bashing it against the wall, bringing on great guests, doing interviews, creating content. And now there are so many podcasters out there that we actually have an audience, and they're bringing people in who have never listened to a podcast. They don't realize that this mobile device is the key to the podcast world, and that you can go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts and search WFO. And next thing you know, you never miss a show. And you can't always watch. It's really better for listening. Better for listening. Like Matt Hagan sound reasonably okay. But if you saw him, Max Headroom. But the audio only folks are going to love it. Now, we also have Erica coming up later on, so we got to get out of here. Let's see what the final comments are. And it'll be Erica Enders, which I'm really expecting a big audience. I took off yesterday for 100 different reasons. And today with Hagan, the numbers are a little down, right? Like the algorithm, that rotten algorithm that holds you back. Why isn't WFO Radio promoted more at national events and national dragster? Well, Mark, because I am not a gratuitous self-promoter. Like, I respect the fact that NHRA pays me to work for them to be there, and it's not really my place to constantly promote my own thing. It's really kind of wrong. Now, when it's applicable, I mention it. Me and Matt Hagan and Dickie Venebles had a conversation on WFO Radio last week where they say they take it one round at a time. And that's fine. But, like, you can overdo that. The reason I'm able to mention it so freely is because everybody realizes that I'm definitely not trying to take advantage of my situation. Definitely not. And for the first 10 years, I never did, because I would never want to be seen as someone who is trying to take advantage of the situation. Maybe I should. I prefer to let the listeners promote for me. Is this a good show? Do you like what we do? Do you like the guests that we have? The fact that Erica is going to be on? Do you want to see more? Do it. That works better anyway, because the host promoting himself, like, who cares? Yes, Max Headroom reference. I need 10 likes. Keep 11, now 11. Everybody's liking. Good job, Lonnie. See, like this guy, Lonnie, he's doing it right. Evangelicalizing, is that the word? About the show. Getting out there, getting everybody fired up. Look at this. It wows me how you can recognize so many racers and remember their names. Yeah. Anthony Troyer has got a WFO sticker on his Factory Showdown car. Thank you for that. All right, we'll be back 3 o'clock with Erica. That's not long from now. We'll see you then. WFO.